Hello and welcome to the 7th episode of Digital India Podcast on FIR Podcast Network. This show is weekly updates brought to you by staff and students of Web Marketing Academy, and I am your host Mansi. This show gives you the latest updates in the digital marketing world in India. Today is the 21st of July 2015 and we are giving you the updates of the last 7 days. Here are the major headlines. The first story we have for today is about Amazon readying $5 billion chest for bigger play in India. The second story is about Sahaj e-village forays into e-commerce aiming rural mass. The third story is about life insurers training agents for social media use. The fourth story we have for today is about social media savviness of the Indian travel trade and its marketing strategy. And the fifth story we have for today is Monster.com's Love What You Do in response to Shine's Lag Gayi Vaat. And here are the major stories for today in detail. The first story we have for today is about Amazon readying $5 billion chest for bigger play in India to launch subscription-based e-commerce services. Amazon, the world's biggest online retailer, is readying a $5 billion war chest to grow India into its biggest market outside the US, according to two people directly familiar with the company's decision. It is also set to add instant video and subscription-based e-commerce services for high buyers called Amazon Prime in India later this year. Amazon will invest most of the additional $5 billion. When I say additional, please remember it had committed to invest $2 billion in India operations earlier in 2015 in expanding its network of warehouses and data centers and beefing up its online marketplace to compete better with the likes of Flipkart, Snapdeal and Paytm, the people aware of its plans said. Amazon, which turned 20 last week, has completed 2 years in India, where its business is now worth at least $2 billion in gross merchandise value on the e-commerce side and includes fast-growing revenue for top Amazon Web Services customers in the country said. Our biggest financial backer, that's Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, doesn't need a fresh pitch while deciding every new investment. Now that's the advantage that Amazon has. We are really long on India. Investment figures are easily in multiples of billions of dollars, said a person aware of the company's plans. Amazon plans to launch its ambitious Amazon Instant Video, that's AIV, service in India this year and has started conversations with music labels and producers for sourcing content. In December, it hired Nitish Kriplani, a former Sony entertainment executive, to lead its new initiatives. An Amazon India spokesperson declined to offer specific comments for the story, citing the company's financial earnings coming up next week. For India's three biggest e-commerce firms, that's Flipkart, Snapdeal and Paytm, Amazon's fresh investments and aggressive new launches will definitely result in a cutthroat rivalry and pile pressures on their valuations, seek more funds from venture capital investors. And before we move on to the next story, we have an awesome tip coming your way.
This is an additional feature in Google AdWords. If you're targeting India, and you want to target specific radius, you can do that. And recently Google AdWords came up with this feature, like how in the other countries you can have your zip code. In India we call it pin code targeting. So now you can actually target specific pin codes. Before it used to be radius, you can select 5 miles or 5 kilometer radius within this area. So that's a feature.
The second story we have for today is about Sahaj e-village foraying into e-commerce aiming the rural masses. This story is from the economictimes.com. City-based SREI group venture Sahaj e-village forayed into e-commerce bandwagon targeting rural people after usage of social media in India has jumped significantly. Sahaj said the usage of social media in rural India has grown by 100% during the last 1 year, and what is needed now is an assisted mode of e-commerce and m-commerce to catalyze the adoption in the rural markets. Sahaj said. A pilot has been rolled out in Tamil Nadu, and after the large scale, the model would soon be scaled up in West Bengal and other 4 states of Assam, Bihar, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh. Meanwhile, Sahaj has been declared winner in the Best Kiosk Implementation category at the Gujarat Cooperative Summit 2015. For this, we have a couple of discussions coming up soon after these weekly updates. We'll have Monica and Suresh Babu with us as a discussion on how innovations are happening in India. The third story we have for today is from businessstandard.com, and they are talking about how life insurers are training agents for social media use. Sector could also use information from social media, said insurers, to assess customer habits. Life insurance companies are looking to how to enable agents to effectively use social media for product promotion. Amit Roy, the Chief Distribution Officer of Aegon Religare Life Insurance, said they were training agents in this regard, such as how to use Facebook, and ask them to share their experience. The exercise will have a ripple effect. It will also lead to better product branding. In their Facebook pages, they have innovative taglines for new products launched by the company so that they can attract attention of their friends on the site, he said. Social media networks such as Facebook and Twitter are already used by insurance companies, life and non-life. The brand promotion here includes contests with prizes, besides quizzes to promote awareness. Anisha Motwani, Chief Marketing and Digital Officer at Max Life Insurance, said they already have a list of do's and don'ts for social media in the business. She said there was a lot of potential in social media training for the agents. By tagging friends who can be prospective customers, Roy said they did been able to have a more meaningful discussion on social media. The sector could also use information from social media, said insurers, to assess customer habits and then provide a better product to suit the need. However, this is still nascent. We are working on using social media to help agents engage better with regular and prospective customers. Using analytics, we can also ascertain at what lifestyle our customers are, said Ms. Motwani. And before we move on to the next story, which is about social media savviness in the Indian travel trade industry, we have another tip.
I'm sure you would have known about this new app called Beam, B-E-M-E. I had an opportunity to play with it and got an unlock code. It's difficult to get unlock code. It seems interesting, but we'll have to wait and see where it is going. It is just a social app that it takes videos from your eyes, what you see. You can actually record some video and then people can react by moving the face or taking a selfie. It sounds crazy. There's some momentum, and this week we have some trending topics on this. I will report on that next week. Check it out. It is BEME app.
The fourth story we have for today is about social media savviness of the Indian travel trade and its marketing strategy, and this is from the financialexpress.com. Social media has been one of the key influencing factors while planning a holiday. Express Travel World explores the social media savviness of the Indian travel trade and its marketing strategy to monetize this social channel. There are a lot of people who have commented in this article, and we have our very own Monica who has also commented on this article. Here are a couple of comments. For a long time, one statement which is quite frequently used in the travel space is personalization is the way to go. Social media has created an avenue where this personalization can be easily achieved. With easy access to social media, every segment in the travel industry, namely tour operators, OTAs, airlines, car rentals, cruises, just about everything are using social media to increase their brand visibility and create a set of loyal audience who can later become potential customers. By gaining access to travelers' social media profiles and engaging with them, understanding their personality traits, companies are aiming to deliver more personalized services. Speaking on this current trend, Chetan Kapoor, a research analyst, Asia Pacific, states, in general, we see airlines and hotels being ahead in terms of social media usage and fans or followers. This was to do with their increasing focus on customer service through social media. Specific to travel agents, mostly online, and larger tour operators have a meaningful presence and maintain very high levels of customer engagement on social media websites. They have their dedicated teams tracking customer mood and feedback, producing and curating content for social channels, which smaller tour operators can't typically keep up with. Our very own Monica, a social media expert and a freelance digital marketing and trainer at Web Marketing Academy, Bangalore, says, some years ago, travel and tourism is skeptical of social media's fit with their business. Over the last 4 or 5 years, though, improved internet coverage, especially in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, along with e-commerce popularity, have compelled the industry to match this strategy with changing consumer behavior. People today rely on referrals from friends and family on social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter when they look for holiday destinations, hotels, or packages. Travel companies are focusing on engaging people, sharing compelling content, real stories, reviews, and testimonials on social media, as they have realized that these are the main influencing factors today. Ankush Nijavan, Managing Director of Nijavan Group of Companies, explains social media usage in India has increased in leaps and bounds as a number of internet users in India reached 302 million by December 2014. Over 75% of India's online population are digital consumers. Trust in a company and brand is no longer dependent on company-controlled traditional mass channels, but rather on communities and peers through social media and other digital channels. This clearly indicates that the businesses will have to allocate significant percentages of their marketing budget to digital and social media marketing in order to successfully reach and market to these customers. Going with the trend, Nijavan Group will further strengthen their social marketing roadmap through teamwork and development of apps to build community, generate leads, and highlight our latest news and updates. To increase brand presence and monetize by using the power of social media, brands like Ria Travels are investing a lot of time to enthrall its audience on social media platforms. Manoj Samuels, CEO Ria Travels, states, nowadays to increase brand presence, it's very necessary to be active on all forms of social media platforms. Social media marketing is the next big thing and an upcoming powerful trend. We are currently present on Facebook, Twitter, G+, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Till now, we have received a very good response, and the focus is more on improvising it and having a tremendous payback. Wow, that's a lot of things happening in the travel industry, and they seem to be jumping on every other social media platform that is there and trying to entice people. And before we move on to our next story, we have another tip.
This is an interesting numbers. We saw in the Financial Express, there was a story saying that companies have increased their spend on digital ads from 2% to 8 to 10%. That's a huge shift in the digital advertising from 2% to 8 to 10%. And the primary focus is on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Also, Business Standards came up with a similar story about the ad spend. In the next 7 years, the budget for digital advertisement is going to go somewhere between 20 to 25%. That's a huge number. And they also talk about the digital spend for this year was almost 46 billion, according to Group M report. 46 billion, India specific. Thank you.
And the last but not the least, we have a case study from lighthouseinsights.in, and it's about how monster.com's hashtag love what you do is in response to shine.com lag gai vaat. Well, monster.com and shine.com are portals where they put a platform together for people who are seeking jobs and the employers, which means if you need a job, you put up your resume on monster.com or shine.com. And both these portals seem to have come up with an awesome campaign. One can't help but compare Monster's latest campaign to the recent shine.com's campaign Lag Gai Vaat. Although both companies are in business of online job search, Monster's Love What You Do is diametrically opposite to the concept of Shine.com's Lag Gayi Baat. Shine's campaign seemed to be targeting people who screw up at work and are thrown out for their disgustingly unprofessional behavior. It roped in actor Javed Jafri as this office bumpkin who bumps into awkward situations at the workplace and loses his job in a series of 3 TVCs, of which one was canned later. While in one ad, Javed loses his job for having accidentally hit on the behind of his boss's wife. In another one, he is fired for having peed in a pot as the restroom was fully occupied. The third is off air and off its YouTube channel as well. Shine.com's Lag Gayi Baat wanted to capitalize on humor, but probably it was a campaign Jiski Lag Gayi Baat. Later, Shine.com launched a Dub Smash campaign inviting people to share their appraisal stories via Dub Smash videos. The wittiest won a couple of vouchers. In comparison, Monster has taken positive route both in its message and its execution while reaching out to its job seekers. Love what you do, that's the hashtag, respects a job seeker's passion and is an assertive statement to encourage passion at work. Besides, it beautifully blends with the brand's new delivery service of Find Better, that's the hashtag, Find Better, with Monster meaning better jobs, better connections and better access. Those were the headlines for this week. We have 3 other stories which Suresh has shared with me and is wanting to look at a full-fledged discussion. So when I say full-fledged discussion, yes, it does mean some controversial topics. And to discuss the topics, we have in our studio Suresh Babu, founder and CEO, Web Marketing Academy. Welcome to the studio, Suresh.
Thank you. Hi.
Alright, and we also have with us Monica, trainer at Web Marketing Academy and an independent consultant for digital marketing. Welcome to the show, Monica.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Alright, so today the first story that I want to discuss is about, it's a story from the first post. And it's about Narayan Murthy's MIT fantasy is a no-brainer. He is claiming that India's innovation capacity is even lower than Brazil and China. Okay, now I have divided this into 3. First one is about the charge. The self-critical charge of Infosys co-founder N.R. Narayan Murthy at the Indian Institute of Science that India hasn't done any earth-shattering innovation in the last 60 years, and his comparison of country's record with that of a single institution such as the MIT is great to inspire India's young science and technology aspirants. But the newspaper says that the comments is utterly devoid of sense of realism. So what do you have to say for that?
Okay, I think we might have to explain what is Infosys and who's Narayan Murthy, the importance of.
Let's look at it this way. Infosys was the first company in Bangalore to bring Bangalore to the global level, put that on the map. Now, it's not that, other companies did not exist, but their PR was great. And that's how they started. They started off as a very small 7-member team. They grew by leaps and bounds. Even today, Infosys is one of the global leader when it comes to technology.
And outsource.
Yes. And the co-founder is N.R. Narayan Murthy. He was also the chairperson. And this is what he had to say when we looked at talk that he did at IISc. That's Indian Institute of Science.
First, I didn't feel very happy when I read that because Mars orbiter was certainly an earth-shattering innovation. India is the only country who got a satellite to the orbit in the first shot, and they did it at a quarter budget compared to the US one. Is that not a earth-shattering innovation? I think it is. There are other things also. Maybe earth-shattering, you have to define the term. What do you mean by that? Sometimes maybe the product was not shipped by India or created by them, but maybe the people who are at the back end. If you see the R&D centers in the last decade, 750 R&D centers by multinationals have been in India. Right. R&D, which is core to any organization. Why did they think that they should have an R&D center in India unless they believed that there are people here who can truly add value?
See, all the back end work goes here. Basically, R&D and other things. So I think it's to bring it up forward. There are not leaders, or maybe there are people who are just, some of them want to be back at the back of this thing and do the work.
And the thing is, see, when we talk about back end, call centers, accounting, and all these things are back-end. R&D is not back-end. R&D is core.
Right.
People move core things to India. How can you say that India is not innovative?
There, I want to mention the second point that he talks about. He has reasons for the kind of innovations not happening from India. He says, we have the poorest of public health service in the world. We have the dirtiest rivers in the world. Our vehicles produce the highest carbon per vehicle in the world. We have the lowest per capita usable water in the world. Our primary education is one of the lowest quality in the world. Oh my God, I can actually see Monica jumping at it now.
No, and we are innovative in spite of it.
Right.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yes.
Yes. Isn't that something? See, the struggle is there. We are a developing country, and that is a developed country. You can't compare. It's apples oranges wala thing, no? You can't compare the two things. They are a mature country. The systems are there, the policies are there, the support is there. We don't have the same kind of thing. But even so, innovation is there. If you see entrepreneurs, we are at a boom, we are at a peak. What are the entrepreneurs doing if not innovative things? How is it that they're succeeding? They're succeeding because they're coming up with such concepts, such ideas that are breaking, conventional barriers. They are totally related to what the people need. So earth-shattering, maybe not rocket science level kind of thing, but Mars orbiter is certainly in that category. So even there I don't agree. So Mars orbiter is a complete story in itself. It's huge. And at the lower level, if you see, there are so many amazing innovations coming in.
Right.
So people are jumping onto it. So I just don't agree.
I think his thoughts was like, there are a lot of innovation happens in other countries. Now we are trying to replicate. That is the concept that we all have. We are trying to copy, for example, that is successful and then bring it up. That is what most of them did. If you look at Flipkarts, and it's just I would not say copy, but it's a kind of replication, right? He was thinking in that kind of mindset. And he was talking, maybe, I don't know, but
didn't missed call marketing start from India because of the missed call concept? And didn't companies turn it into billions of profit for them?
Yeah, and COD is, cash on delivery.
So all the issues we complain about India are actually so culturally there, but you can also convert it into something. And that is innovation, isn't it? Where people are saying, missed call, these people always do this missed call thing because we're used to it, fine. But then see, there's another guy who used the same concept and turned it into an industry.
Yeah.
Isn't that innovation?
Zip dial, correct?
Zip dial.
Valerie, she comes and
Zip dial. And companies
speaks,
like Unilever and all, they run complete campaigns to market their products in rural areas. See, we are a developing country. 80% of our public is in the rural area. But people are using technology which is at hand. They are not even relying on internet. They are using the phone technology, the SMS power.
Correct. Unilever, that campaign, right?
Yes.
We were discussing
Kan
about
Khajura Station.
Yes.
That is the name. You should watch the video.
What is it? Can you?
Kan Khajura Station. KAAN.
Okay.
KHAJURA.
Okay.
Station is TESHAN by Unilever.
We'll also include that in the show notes, correct?
Yeah.
Dabawala.
Yeah.
I mean,
Amazing.
case study, right?
Yes.
Amazing case study that using the culture and with, you brought up a good point that with limited resources, we were able to bring in all this innovation. That is great. I mean, that's more than what we can expect. We'll have to wait and see too. And now with all these latest technology and the 4G and all these things coming up, I'm sure there would be a lot of technologies and innovations coming up.
And here I would actually like to point the listeners to this video. There's a TED talk by Nirmalya Kumar. It's on Invisible Entrepreneurs of India, and he talks about the invisible innovations that have come from India. The technology that was used in some Boeing came from India, but what people see there is the name of the company, and who worked at the back end is not known. So you would say that innovation does not come from India, but you see he's given 4-5 cases there in technology and other industries where the innovation has actually genuinely happened in India. He went and visited R&D centers in US and other developed countries, and he found that the R&D head in most places was an Indian.
Right.
Then he went and questioned them, okay, you're there, but you're possibly educated in America. And it was no.
Right.
We were educated in India, but they are there. And then they had to leave that and come to India to explore, because a lot of the R&D stuff was actually in India.
Right.
And then they did this, and it's a 2012 TED talk. You must watch it.
Sure,
and then you will really not believe that innovation is not something which comes from India.
I talk to a lot of people, right, where I go for conferences and all these things. We talk about our education system is bad, for example. That's what was the quote there? Education.
I read out the rest of it. The comparison is preposterous for many more reasons. The most important being the poor quality of India's educational institution. None of Indian university or colleges, not even our hallowed IITs, don't find a place in the global list of 200. Most of India's higher education in science and technology, other than the IITs, NITs and a few other national institutions, have been taken over by the private sector, which is driven only by profits. Profits come from numbers that are good enough only to be working class for global capital, with no institutional interest in research. If the government and the industries do not fund R&D, how do we innovate?
Yeah.
True.
That brings up the point too about the education system. We talked this one about in the previous ones how our education system is like we memorize all those things. But if we take a step back and go back to the olden days, how education was. I mean, there was a lot of things that was done in the Vedas, right? So Vedas is people are good in mathematics, for example. From South, people are good in mathematics because the culture and the way they grew up. They're the ones who are doing in Google, for example, a lot of people who do all the research and come up with various algorithms are these people. I've seen people and I heard people telling me that they are smart people. Yes. I want to talk a little bit once we decide on this particular thing, right? Innovation. I want to bring up this one point that we talk about e-commerce a lot and we also talk about this in the class where e-commerce was not new in India. I gave a call to Mr. Vaithiswaran, known as the father of e-commerce. He started off first e-commerce in India in 1996. Nobody is talking about it. Today I called him up and I said, I want to talk to you about what is the current scenario. So I met him and I was talking to him. They have the office here nearby our office, Indranagar. And we had a lengthy discussion about what is the current scenario. And that was the time Flipkart came in 2008. 2009 I met him. He had one person for search engine optimization. I said, Mr. Vaithiswaran, you have so much of inventory. Because that time it was Flipkart was new, it is coming. And there's so much of inventory, you'll have to leverage this inventory. And he, for some reason, he was thinking and he was saying, yes, we'll have to do it. But he was not unable to do that. Over a period of time, it slowly declined and nobody talks about India Plaza, which is, imagine a person like Vaithiswaran to bring e-commerce in India is a huge thing. We talk only about the Amazons and Flipkarts and I respect that man for what he is doing. I know him and I met him in 2012. I was moderating a session and he was there. I talked to him again about where is it like. I don't know, for some reason he did not adapt digital. That was the mistake. And recently I saw the news about his business going down. I felt very bad. And I remember ordering, when I was in the US, I ordered from India Plaza. I ordered some birthday cakes and flowers to send it. I want to reconnect with him and I want to do a podcast with him. I spoke to him. We will have maybe this week or the next week when he's here. I mean, that is also innovation, right? We talk about innovation. That is never talked about. Nobody knows, India Plaza, right?
Nobody talks about it.
Yes. And we talk only the Flipkarts and I think it's worth mentioning.
I remember Vaithiswaran constantly talking about, hey, wait till all the Flipkarts and Amazons, all of them, their deep pockets are done with. Wait till, they have stopped with the funding and let's see who survives. Those were the quotes that he had given the newspapers and lots of e-commerce stories that we did. That brings us to our next story today that we want to discuss, and this is also from the Economic Times. It's talking about e-commerce to change face of Indian merchandise business, and that is by Ratan Tata. Promising startups in e-commerce and retail space are the ones that will change the face of Indian merchandising and marketing business. Tata Sons chairperson Ratan Tata said, "For the last 3 years, I have been a free person by not in command of the Tata Group. If I look at the landscape, I see the future in young managers, the young startups. It is what I saw in the United States in 70s and 80s, he said. The ability to think out of the box has made the United States change its appearance from a smokestacked companies to innovative companies that we see around us today, such as Apple, Facebook, etc., Tata has said. He said this while interacting with the students of Great Lakes Institute of Management at its 11th convocation. So what do you have to say for this?
See, last week we talked about the cycle, right? And that was an initiative by Tata, correct?
Right.
Slowly, Tata is investing with, and they're trying to do various things, not only in the innovation space, but also in e-commerce space. And it is a good thing. For example, the Great Lakes College, they are doing good in terms of, bringing in people like this and giving exposure to students. It's a big deal. And it's good. It starts with the students, which is educating them and motivating them.
Monica, what do you have to say on this?
It's already changed the face of
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly right.
It's like a late statement.
Yes.
But he's talking about, he's comparing India to what was there in the United States in the 70s and 80s. And he says ability to think out of the box has made the United States change its appearance from a smokestacked companies to innovative companies that we see today. Basically, Apple and Facebook is what he says.
True. It's true. Always we are late. And I got some rants and to make about how late we are.
Monica?
Yeah, e-commerce is definitely changing, and it is late to the party. That we are always late to the party. Sadly, hopefully this is going to change over time, because now you see that things are happening faster. Like iPhone was something which was not there in India, and now it's become a very popular.
Yeah.
It's exactly the thing. You see, when in marketing we keep talking about understanding the consumer, know your consumer. This is exactly it. What you have in US may not be replicated in India.
Yeah.
But what you can do in India cannot be replicated there.
Correct, yeah. Cash on delivery concept will not work out anywhere else.
Yes.
Because in other countries, they swipe the card. Even for $1, we swipe a card. Here, we are not used to cards. We don't have cards. Some of them don't have cards.
There are still people who've got cards and who refuse to use it because of security issues.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's because the bank is forced it on them, so they have a card.
If you have cash and pay, you feel comfortable. Okay, good. We are not used to do credit cards because there's a huge burden, and we grew up like that. If you have money, you spend.
Yes.
If you don't have money, don't spend. Simple.
Yeah.
That's why we have the debit card concept, and
Yes.
it seems to be working well so far, but let's see if it happens in the rural space. And with that, we move on to our next story that I want to talk about on this show. It's from the Next Web, and they will talk about Indian cops wanting citizens to use Periscope to catch criminals. Well, Suresh, you've been cribbing about how we are late to the party all the time. Well,
My
Periscope
favorite
is
subject.
Here. Periscope is here, and local police in Bangalore, that's India's Silicon Valley, will soon encourage citizens to live stream footage of crimes as they happen in order to help apprehend wrongdoers, reports the Economic Times. The idea was floated by City Police Commissioner M.N. Reddy, who has nearly 300,000 followers on Twitter and recently attended a conference held by the social network Twitter. He said, at the conference organized by Twitter, there was a discussion on Periscope. I thought we can try it out. If the number of people following on Periscope increases, it will be useful for us to directly interact with the public. I also want to draw your attention to this story. There was another story from the Bangalore cops that was also published a couple of days ago. There's a study on Bangalore city's police's social media usage, and that bagged a US University award. A paper presented by the researchers with a Delhi institute shows how social media networks have forced the police become more accountable. The city police's impressive social media visibility caught the attention of the participants at an academic event as far a place as the Arizona State University in the US. It was an international conference on digital government research. Wow. Being in Silicon City, even Bangalore police is going places with technology.
Yay, innovation.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I was excited about this entire thing. And to bring the context, Bangalore city is kind of diverse kind of city. People who are in Bangalore are not, most of them are not from Bangalore. We all came from different places because this is a IT capital or Silicon for India, Silicon Valley for India. People come here and there's a lot of exposure. It is really tough for cops to organize everything, including the traffic, including cultural differences. They're doing a wonderful job. bringing that to social, it's an excellent thing. They're already doing Twitter. The moment I saw this news, I was like, wow, this is exciting. Yeah, I let Monica talk and then I'll share my excitement.
I have one thing to kind of disagree here. So places where there is no diversity and there are no other issues, the police is still not doing a good job.
I know.
Okay, so the reason, see, this is so beautiful. I have been following the Commissioner of Police since the time he started on Twitter. And even then I was amazed that, these are people, it's so refreshing to see somebody willing and open to using current technologies for current things. Our campaigns are always, for 5 years down the line when the scenario has completely changed and it makes no sense, and then we get back to the scratch, and then it's a dead end kind of cycle which we are, Indians are used to it. And to see them using this technology in such an innovative way and getting the inclusion of people and turning people into investigators, and they had this campaign where people used to wear shirts, uniforms kind of things, and so that people know that these guys are there to help with the traffic.
Correct.
And it would be common people driving the scooters and cars, they would just represent. They are using it so intelligently. Why can't a smaller place use it?
Right.
There is nothing stopping
Correct.
them. They just don't use it.
Right.
So these guys have taken the initiative to do it, and such results they have seen. And we see the results in our localities when we take a picture of a pothole and we share it with BBM. BBM is not doing it as well as the traffic. These guys are excellent. But even so, after some time, you see people coming and doing something about it. Roads are getting rebuilt
Correct.
faster. So this is converting into
Actions, yeah.
which rarely is the problem with us. We
Right.
pay tax, but where it is ultimately going, we see nothing. Where there is no transparency. This at least creates some transparency, some trust between the government organization and the public.
I was excited just to give a background. Whatever new comes in, I try to jump in and at least try to test it out. So that's what I did in YouTube in 2007, and now I see the use of Periscope, so we started to jump into it. And the day one I started to encourage students to use Periscope, not to actually do it, but that they should know what is Periscope.
And until you do it, how will you know?
Yes, right. It was very close to me because I've been experimenting with Periscope. At the moment he announced, I immediately did a Periscope. Immediately, right away I said, this is exciting news. What I did was I shared it in Twitter and I tagged our commissioner and deputy commissioner. The interesting thing about Periscope is you can see actually who viewed it. To my surprise, the commissioner viewed it and the deputy commissioner viewed it. Immediately I went to Deputy Commissioner Abhishek Goyal. I went to him and I was understanding what he is hiring people who are hackers. Ethical hackers, and he talks about all the technology. He's a kind of, I would not say geek, but he's open for new technologies. DM'd him saying that it's great initiative, I did a Periscope video, watch it. And then he told me back and said, is it possible, can I come meet with you? I asked him. He said, sure. What do you want to discuss? I said, we can discuss about Periscope and we can discuss about latest things, technology. It took 1 or 2 days. Immediately he gave us an appointment to come meet with him at 3 o'clock. We spent almost 45 minutes sitting down and talking about technology. They said they're going to use Periscope. It's just not that the cops are using it, but what they're trying to say is we would encourage people to broadcast criminal acts. So it's not like they are doing, but they will be monitoring closely through Twitter, if there is anything, because it's like an evidence. And they are encouraging. I was totally excited, and he talked about how we need to use the technology for protection and awareness program, which is amazing. You want to do some video series of just educating people. It was excellent. So I said we would be happy to be involved. It was fun and exciting at the same time, very informative and useful thing that we did. And we were able to build that relationship. He is good in connecting with the people like bloggers, influencers, open-minded. That is what is important for anybody to get good at it. We have some plans for the next visit. Update y'all on that particular thing. Where is it? I have to talk a little bit about the challenges that while all these things are happening, the challenge that we see is who is using Periscope. How many people are using Periscope?
Even in Bangalore, the IT capital, yes.
Yes. So last week I went for a CEO Hangout Summit. The entire thing we were Periscoping, and I was curious to know how many people use video or at least keep an eye on what is happening. And to my surprise, nobody know about Periscope. Nobody. Except one person who was a blogger. Other than that, I was like, man, what an opportunity, missed opportunity here. That is one thing. The second thing is, I had a speaker speak about content marketing. And he's an event organizer. He did not speak anything about video. I brought that point up, what about video? And I asked that to the audience, maybe around 50 CEOs were there. I asked that, what do you think about videos? Nobody said anything, but the speaker said, I was shocked. Seriously, I was shocked. He said, I don't use video because it takes time to load. That was his explanation of why he is not using. I thought to myself, oh my God, are you kidding me? I mean, forget about you using it. I mean, everybody from a, yes, everybody from a 2-year-old to, a 60-year-old or whomever, everybody is viewing. I mean, imagine if he's organizing the event, the first thing that I want to look at is what? I want to look at last year's CEO hangout. I want to see, right? If you're coming for, that is the first thing. How can you see? Not by, yes, images will work, but I want to see who are all the speakers, how they speak, what are the discussion. I was shocked, and I was thinking to myself, yes, it is true. After that, I'm starting to do some research on, conception of video in Indian scenario. The thing is, we are passive consumers. We don't interact. Well, that is one thing. Even if you watch something, we don't get to interact. Even Periscope, that is what I see. They watch. 250 people watch Periscope, but nobody interacts. Nobody. Right? And I think that has to do with the way we are. The production of video, it doesn't have to be fancy videos, right? It doesn't have to. That is one of the other challenge. They think that we need to be perfect. We don't have to. Right? That's the whole thing about the social media. And I'm seeing a lot of challenges, but I was thinking to myself, I am glad I am doing it. I am taking this as an opportunity, and in our classes,
and the ROI is there, right?
Of course.
So it's like it works.
Exactly.
So it's surprising that it works.
Exactly.
And you're not using it.
Yeah. Looking at the statistics, looking at Facebook usage of video, I mean, amazing. And to hedge this thing, I was thinking, we have 4G now. I don't think so. That's a challenge. Do you?
It's not.
But I want your opinion about what do you all think?
Yeah, I think not using video is like the hassle I've seen with people is the same thing, that they expect the video to always be a scripted one with a proper audio, visual, animation. This. That is the concept of video in the case of most C-level people.
Correct.
Having used like this thing which we are having could also be a video. You can convert your content into multiple formats and use it. That thought is not there.
Yeah.
As marketers, we try to educate and we do that. But because of that conception, that is what videos mean. So today you can create a video on the way to work.
Exactly. Right.
You could create 4-5 videos and turn it into something useful. But that thing is not there. So we go back to an earlier session we had on mindset, right?
Right.
It's the same thing.
If you look at YouTube, it came in as a social media kind of thing, but now we are using it for research. I mean, amazing for education purpose.
Training, anything you take.
Now, if I'm going and asking to some of the CAs, for example, what do you use? We don't use internet, but when there is a problem, we go to YouTube and search the solution. Be it CAs, be it a plumber, be it a carpenter, they are doing all these things. That is one thing. If you look at lynda.com, I mean, what is it about? Right?
All do-it-yourself projects are happening because videos are available.
Correct.
Otherwise, where would people go for information? You can read a blog and actually do it.
The Khan Academy. It's all video, right? Everything is going, and still we are not paying attention. I was like, I want people to take this and say, okay, it's an opportunity. Why don't we use it?
And B2B, I think B2B.
Exactly.
Where do we use videos in B2B? It's like, why do we need videos in B2B? But it's like, you see, just check out the popular trending videos from businesses and you see what kind of businesses.
This is an awesome opportunity. And for me, I'm not a person who's good in video. I'm a shy person when it comes to video. But I realize that if I have to be in this one, I have to do selfie or whatever. I'm not good with selfie. But that is the trend, and we'll have to adapt. As a trainer and a teacher, I have to adapt so that I can teach.
Consumer behavior.
Yes.
Consumer behavior is changing, and if you're not tapping it. If you're not keeping track and you're not adapting, then you'll be
exactly
left behind. That's right.
Well, that was quite a conversation about innovations and innovations not happening in India, according to Narayan Murthy, and how Monica just jumped on it to say that, yes, innovations are happening. And then we talked about e-commerce being the industry in India to take the merchandise business forward. And yes, of course, we are also talked about Periscope being used by police officers to nab criminals, and that's happening in the Bengaluru police. Thank you so much, Suresh, and thank you so much, Monica, for coming on to the show and discussing your opinions on these 3 topics. I'm sure it was a wonderful experience for all our listeners. And as we mentioned in the show, this is a call out to all those businesses out there. Do not be shy. Social media is supposed to be the place where you're human. It's okay to err because we are not God. Since it's a new show, it would be of great help if you could share your ratings and reviews. Please give us your feedback. For those of you who are listening to us and have something to say, you can leave a comment in the comment section below, and you could get in touch with us on SURESH. That's Suresh at webmarketingacademy.in. I hope you've enjoyed the weekly updates. Catch you same time next week. Until then, this is Mansi signing off with a bye-bye.